My name is Chipo Shotgam, and I'll be conducting combined science lessons for the SIM6 science syllabus for Form 1s up to Form 4. The reason why I've decided to conduct these lessons is because our learners, due to the COVID-19 epidemic, are really behind with their learning material. So to cover this learning gap, especially in science, we are going to perform these lessons online. These lessons are going to be free. Anyone who wants to access them, you can download them whenever you have access to internet or Wi-Fi connection, and then you can go over the material at your leisure, even in the absence of Wi-Fi. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, or you may need to contact me, you can contact me on my email address, chiposhotgame@gmail.com, or on my WhatsApp number, +263 771 871 669. Or you may contact my manager, Miss PN Shotgame, on her email address, primroseshotgame@gmail.com. Or you can get hold of her on her WhatsApp number, +263 774 417 669. So all you need to do to access the lessons, simply subscribe and download, and you're going to have access to these lessons. And today we are going to start by introducing our Form 1 concept. Okay, but before we start on our laboratory rules, what is science? When we look at science, we are studying about the world around us. And scientists are very important because science is everywhere. You are a scientific creature. What you eat is science. What you wear is science. What you use to cook your food is science. Where you live, to clean, everything involves science. That is why it's very important for us to know about our science. And science is also a very good subject because it gives us a lot of positive attitudes. As a scientist, you should be a curious person. Why do things happen the way they do? What if this happens the other way? What will happen? You should also be very observant. Learn things. Discover new things. Invent new things. So scientists are very creative. They are very innovative. And scientists, they also analyze. You have to be very analytical. Okay. So in science, a lot of work is done. A lot of practical work and researching. Right now, scientists are busy the world over searching for the cure, the vaccine for the COVID pandemic. It's all science work. So I really would like you to get into the wagon and let's pursue and learn this science. So in the combined science, we are now doing combined science. The combined science is going now to cover the biology part of the science. It covers the chemistry part, and it also has the physics part. So all these subjects will be covered as one subject, but they are all covered. So you are a complete scientist because you learn about the biology, the chemistry, as well as the physics components of the science subject. So as we learn, we do practicals to understand the world around us. We are going to perform lots of practical activity. We are going to do experiments. We are going to do some surveys in order to understand this. And at school, our practical activity can be done in the classroom. It can be done outside the classroom, but most of it, we are going to do our experiments in the laboratory. It's a special room for performing these practicals. And when we are performing practicals, we are going to be using some chemicals are quite dangerous chemicals. Some are corrosive, that means they can burn your skin. Some are flammable, which means they can easily catch fire. Some are even toxic. And you're also going to use fire, you're going to use electricity, you're going to handle sharp objects. For example, scalpel blades, very sharp cutting instruments. You're also going to handle apparatus, which are special equipment which we use to carry out the experiments. And some of these apparatus are made of glass, very fragile, which can easily break and you can easily cut yourself. And also some of the apparatus are quite expensive, so they need to be handled with care so that we don't get or incur any losses. Okay, so in order to work safely in the lab, to avoid accidents, avoid injuring yourselves, and even avoid destroying the whole laboratory, it's very important for us to have some safety rules which we need to obey when we are in the laboratory. So at this point in time, we are going to go over some. They are not exhaustive, they are quite a number, but these are some of the laboratory rules which I deemed are necessary for us to start off with, so that you are not going to get into any accidents. You are not going to get injured as you work in the lab and as you do your experiments. And these rules also, they will help you to get accurate results. Okay, so the first rule, don't enter the lab without your teacher or without your teacher's permission. Okay, when you get in the lab, no eating, no drinking in the lab, please. No running around, no fooling around when you're in the lab. Get in nicely, walk nicely, go sit down and wait to hear what happens next. Don't play around with the sinks, stuffing stuff in the sinks, playing around with the water taps, playing with the gas taps. That's going to be very dangerous. So please, don't do that. When you are about to do practical work, please follow the teacher's instructions or the instructions which are given in a textbook. Those are the instructions which you must follow when you are performing practical work. Do not do your own unauthorized experiments. Yes, I know we are very curious individuals, but if you start mixing things, you may create a bomb, and instead of learning anything, we will be in a very big trouble when you explode your head off. So please, no unauthorized experiments when you are in the lab. When you spill any chemicals on your work surface, please quickly wipe it off, clean it off, and make sure there are no chemicals which will be near flames. So exercise cleanliness, please, because some chemicals are flammable. Okay, and there are some which when they are mixed together can also cause a fire. So that's the reason why we don't want your table to be all messed up with different types of chemicals. So keep your workbench clean. If there happen to be any accident, please report it to your teacher. In the lab, never ever use your sense of taste. Yes, we are going to explore the world around us using our senses. We have our 5 senses, your sense of sight, your sense of hearing, your sense of smelling, your sense of feeling or touch, your sense of tasting. This sense of tasting, please, you don't use it to experiment on chemicals whose identity you don't even know. So in the lab, we don't test any chemicals and we don't touch any chemicals. We only test and touch those which we are instructed to do so by our teachers. If by accident you touch any chemicals, please wash your hands with running water and you must notify your teacher. Okay. And we are also going to work with Bunsen burners. We are going to use fire. Never ever leave a lit burner, be it a Bunsen burner, be it a spirit burner, be it a candle that you might be using as your source of heat. Never ever leave a lit or a burning burner unattended, please. Then, in the event that you are heating a test tube, never ever point the mouth of the test tube towards yourself or towards another individual, because these chemicals or the substances that you are heating may pop out, and if it is pointing towards you, you're going to splash yourself with hot substance, hot chemicals. And if it's pointing towards another individual, you're going to burn that person. So never point the mouth of a test tube during heating towards yourself or another person. You must handle sharp objects as well as hot objects with great care. And you must also wear proper clothing in the lab, and you must wear safety goggles, especially when you are heating substances. In the lab, we don't encourage loose clothing, hanging ties, hanging hair. Please tie your hair back, remove your tie, remove your blazer, and put on your lab coat, because all these loose objects get in the way as you do your work, or they may end up being spilled on by the chemicals, or they may knock some chemicals off to the floor or onto your being, and you end up being harmed. So please, no loose things. After doing your practical work, it is very important to dispose of all chemicals properly, and you must dispose as instructed by your teacher, because these are chemicals. If we dispose them anyhowly, they may end up getting into our water, clean water supply, and we don't want to do that, because that is going to be very dangerous. So please dispose of all chemicals after your practical work as instructed by your teacher. Clean your work surface at the end of your practical. Take all the apparatus and place them where you'll be instructed to place them, so that you leave your surface clean and free. And at the end of it all, wash your hands with soap and water after every practical activity. So these are some of the laboratory rules, and I'm hoping that if we follow these, we are going to have quite a lot of fun, safe fun, as we explore the world around us, because it's great fun, I tell you. So get into the wagon. So I'll meet you as we proceed with the different lessons that we'll be conducting. I'll be combining the biology section. I'll run it in tandem with the physics section. In the chemistry section, I'll take it up a bit later on. So I would handle all the different sections of your syllabus. Okay, so guys, next we'll be looking at some of the apparatus that we need to be acquainted with, so that we can do our practical activity. And I'll be showing you some of those apparatus and how to use them later on. So remember, subscribe, download, and always sanitize, wear your mask, keep social distancing, wash your hands. Okay, I'll meet you in the next lesson.